Hi, and welcome to this Spiritual Business Bootcamp training video. In this video, we're going to focus on pricing your offerings. So to become a successful business owner, it's really important for you to learn how to price your offerings so that purchasing becomes an easy decision for your clients while still earning you great profits. Pricing your new products and services can be really difficult, and you have to find a price that's fair and affordable for your customers, but also that supports you as a business owner, all while staying competitive in a crowded marketplace. And I know so many of us get so worked up and anxious about finding the right price for our offerings. Are we charging too much? Are we going to make enough to support ourselves? This is a really tough decision. So you need to be careful not to price your offerings too high or too low without understanding how it should be done. So think back to your positioning and how you'd like your offerings to be viewed in the marketplace before determining your prices. So I have a great suggested resource for you here. There's an amazing blog post called How Much Should I Charge by Marie Forleo at this link. I've also embedded the video in the bonus video section below so that you can check it out right here. Marie Forleo was one of my very first business teachers, and I absolutely love her style and perspective. I think she's really aligned with what it means to be a heart-centered and spiritual business owner, and she has some amazing advice. Now, I have a hot tip for you here. You need to know your worth. In our industry, it's so easy to want to come from that place of service, so much so that we devalue or undervalue the products or services that we offer. Sometimes as business owners, we also let money mindset blocks get in the way of charging what we should be for our offerings. Now, charging our customers more money for our offerings isn't about being greedy. It's about earning enough abundant revenue to support the amazing soul-centered work that you're doing. Now, we're going to dive deeper into money mindset in Lesson 6, and we'll get into self-care, self-worth, and boundaries in Lesson 9. When you're being supported financially, though, you're better able to care for yourself and your loved ones. You provide better products and services to your dream clients, and it allows you to give back in bigger and bigger ways. All of these paid products and services are the things that support the phenomenal free work that you'll do to provide content and resources to your tribe, but more about that in Lesson 11. So, how do you go about pricing your products? And here we're talking about physical and digital products. So, you need to know the cost of your products and how to mark them up. This means knowing your margins. Typical product markups are anywhere from 2 times the cost of items for higher price goods with slower turnover to 3, 4, or 5 times the cost for more standard goods. And some things like beauty products might even go for as high as 10 times the cost of goods. So you need to consider the cost of your pricing, your packaging, the experience and expertise that you offer, because this is how you create value for your clients. You might even want to consider your company size and what your overhead costs are, your marketing strategy or positioning and how you want your offerings to be perceived, and then all of those fixed and variable overhead costs that play a role in your ultimate pricing. So a hot tip for you here: some business owners worry too much about things like the cost of credit card processing fees, so they make things more difficult for their customers by not accepting credit just to save a few bucks here and there. Now, I'm bringing this up now because I don't want you to make this mistake. You need to keep things as easy as possible for your customers to make a purchase. And instead of worrying about the few dollars that you're losing on the back end for credit card processing, instead just consider these additional upfront costs during the pricing phase. If you can account for these costs when you're actually setting the prices of your products, then when it comes time to pay those processing fees down the road, they're already accounted for. Now let's talk about pricing your one-to-one services. So one-to-one services are the services with which you work directly with just one client. Now this might be something like massage, private coaching, psychic readings, and to price these services, you need to know what the true value of your time is and how much you need to be charging hourly to have the lifestyle that you want and that really supports you. So most business owners are not charging nearly enough for their services, and they end up feeling like they're working loads of hours, but they're still barely making enough to scrape by. And this often indicates a major pricing problem. One-to-one services are fantastic and they make up the core of many sacred businesses, but I want you to start thinking here about ways you can move to a more premium packaging or differentiated positioning, because there are only really three true ways to grow your business revenue, and encouraging your existing customers to spend a little more with you each time is one of those ways. So start to think about how you can move to a more premium packaging or premium price model, or how you can differentiate yourself with your positioning and be truly valued by your customers, which will make them comfortable paying a little bit more for the amazing services that you provide. So a hot tip, we're going to talk a little bit about premium packaging in a later video in this lesson. So now I have a suggested resource for you here. There's this amazing hourly services cost calculator at this website. Now it really helps you see what the true cost of your time is, including opportunity cost. So an opportunity cost is basically if you spend an hour of your time doing one thing, that's an hour of your time that you could have spent doing something else. So you've lost the opportunity to do that something else by performing the activity that you were performing. That's your opportunity cost. So this really comes into play when you're thinking about growing your business and your team especially. So say that you need to hire some help for making a change on your website because you're not very tech savvy. To determine whether or not to try and do it yourself or source that out to someone else, you need to know how much your time is truly worth. And this hourly services cost calculator helps you figure that out. So I want you to check this out, play around with the numbers, put in your goal annual income, how many weeks a year you want to work, and yes, you need to include some time off for vacations, the number of hours you want to work per week, and it will actually spit out your hourly rate. Now this would be if you were booked solid the whole time that you wanted to be booked, so this is a great target thing to shoot for here, but play around with these numbers and get a sense for the true amount that you should be charging for your services. Now I have some more great resources for you here. If you're kind of starting to see where I'm going with this idea of raising your prices a little bit and moving to a more premium model, check out this How to Raise Your Prices blog post by Marie Forleo. Now again, I've embedded this video below in the bonus video section so you can watch it straight from this webpage. There's also a great blog post by Marie called Why Some Business Owners Must Raise Prices. And this again is understanding the true value and worth of your time and understanding how and why this is so important to running a heart-centered business. I know that it might seem counterintuitive because so many of us see money and spirituality as a duality, but actually these two things can work together in beautiful harmony if we just really make space for that in our mindset. So check out this video for a little bit of Marie's view on why this is so important. Now I have another hot tip for you, and this is one that I just want you to be prepared for. If you're hearing what I'm saying, if you've watched this video with Marie and you've really started to see how this makes sense, how you can reach more people, serve more people, and do more good by raising your prices a little bit, be aware that you will always, 100% of the time, have a little pushback from a few people. But this is okay, and here's why. If a few people are upset by your new prices, that's to be expected. And the reason it's okay is because it means that these people aren't truly aligned with your vision for what you're creating and who you want to reach with your sacred business. In my business, I started out doing things for free, and then I went to charging $25 an hour for a crystal healing session, and then to $50 an hour for a crystal healing session, and then to $100 an hour for a crystal healing session. And this is because the level of work that I was doing kept changing, and the vision that I had for my business kept growing, and I knew that I would ultimately be able to reach more people, serve more people, and change the world in a bigger way if I was being supported financially. So here's what I need you to know. If a few people take a step back from your business when you raise your prices, again, that is okay and it's to be expected. The universe will naturally help you fill out this ebb and flow of clients as you move through these changes in your business. Now I need to say something that's going to be probably a little controversial, but it's something that I've just found to be true working in this industry for over a decade. There are a lot of wounded people in our niche, and that's part of why we do this amazing work as healers and light workers and spiritual business owners, because we want to help create healing in the world. But some of these people have blocks and limiting beliefs about what's acceptable or appropriate to charge for any type of spiritual offering, whether that's a product or a service. But remember here, it's the people in your tribe who pay for your higher price offerings that give you the time and space that you need to work on creating tons of amazing free content or to pursue additional training in a new modality so that you can improve your services, or just so you can get the balance that you need in your life so you can continue to do the work that you do without burning out. Because if you did everything for free and you served tons of people for free, you would burn out immediately. Just like if you're not charging enough for your services and you continue to do high level work without very much energy exchange, it leads to burnout over time. And then you're not serving anyone, least of all yourself. So if you truly want to make positive change in the world, come from the heart and be a spiritual business owner, and this is how you do it. Now that I've talked a little bit about one-to-one services, why you should consider a premium model, and consider raising your prices, let's talk about pricing your group or one-to-many services. So group services are those services that you provide to more than one person at a time. So this could be something like a yoga class, group coaching, psychic parties, that sort of thing. So to price these services, you need to consider your normal hourly rate and charge anywhere from 50% of your hourly fee to 100% of your hourly fee per person at the event. Because events take a lot of time to plan and travel to and from and set up. There's a lot involved in an event that goes outside of what a normal one-to-one service would offer. So, although it might seem strange to charge the same per person at a group event as you would for a one-on-one session, really it evens out in the long run. So if you're providing a one-time group service, charge roughly 75 to 100% of your full hourly fee per person. So for example, if you charge $100 an hour for a private yoga class, then you might charge $75 to $100 an hour per person at a group yoga class. This is just an example. I know most yoga instructors don't typically charge that much for a yoga class, but this is just to give you an example. Now, if you're providing a service like a recorded class or tutorial that you'll only need to create once, but it can then be utilized over and over again, remember this is that idea behind passive income, then you can charge a little bit less, roughly 50 to 75% of your hourly rate per person. So for example, for my 11 light classes, I charge 50% of my hourly rate per hour of class instruction. So consider integrating some group or one-to-many services into your product pipeline to leverage your time. This allows you to serve more people and earn more money for the beautiful work that you're doing. Because again, too many healers burn out because they're trading hours for dollars. And what that means is that everything is done one-to-one. And the only way you can ever earn more money is to book more sessions and work more hours. So if you consider adding some group services into your offerings catalog, it allows you to earn more in less time, which is a benefit for you because it keeps you from burning out, but it also allows you to do the soul-centered work that you're doing and reach more people. So now I have a homework assignment for you. I want you to complete the Pricing Your Offerings workbook homework assignment found below this video to give you some more clarity about pricing your unique products and services. So this is the Pricing Your Offerings workbook. Now, when determining the pricing strategy for your offerings, again, first and foremost, consider that positioning and how you want your customers to see you in the marketplace. But you also need to consider things like the cost of your offering to you, what kind of profit margins you need to make on each sale in order to sustain and grow your business. If you'll offer any pricing variations on your offer, like discounts or coupons from time to time. Think about, in a small way, what your competitors are charging for similar offerings, although this shouldn't make up a large part of your ultimate decision on pricing. And then what your ideal customer is willing to pay for your offering. Basically, what is the perceived quality and value of your product or service? So you'll see I have one worksheet for finding the perfect price for your products and one for finding the perfect price for your services. Now this just kind of gives you an average look at pricing based on lots of different factors. So I want you to consider pricing your product purely based on the cost of your product, pricing your product based on what you would pay for this product, pricing your product based on what your competitors charge, pricing it based on what your customers are willing to pay, and going through all of these different pricing models, then finding the average to give you kind of a final price. So that just gives you a way to look at all of these different factors and variables and come up with an average price based on all of those things. Now, if you wanted to get really fancy with a little extra algebra, you could actually weight each of these a different amount. So maybe how you position your offerings has more weight than what your competitors are charging. Then you can weight the answers and come up with a little bit more realistic pricing strategy. But just an average will give you a pretty good ballpark of where your prices should be. Now you can do that for your products with this worksheet or with your services for this worksheet. But again, I want you to consider how much your time for your services costs. And you can go to this website here on the worksheet or the one I've included in the slideshow. The one in the slideshow is actually a little bit more accurate because it accounts for a few extra things than the pricing calculator here in the worksheet. So that was a quick look at the Pricing Your Offerings homework assignment. Now before we get too far, I want to mention pricing policies. So you should always have written policies in place for pretty much everything in your business, but especially when it comes to your offerings. When you have good written policies in place, it makes sticking to your boundaries super easy. So consider writing up your refunds and returns policy, your appointment cancellation and rescheduling policy, and make sure that you include contingencies for if you cancel or if your client cancels. Also, write up a policy on trades and bartering and a discount policy. So I have a hot tip here for you, and it refers to this trades and bartering idea. So I really personally recommend having a strict no trades or bartering policy in place for all of your goods and services. Because although it might work out from time to time, there's often an energetic imbalance in these trades, and one person can be left feeling as if they got the short end of the stick, and there's a feeling of inequality. So don't let this happen to you, and don't accidentally leave another person feeling this way. The other thing that I have to just say from an energetic standpoint, because this is Spiritual Business Bootcamp, is I really feel personally that trades and bartering invite scarcity vibes into your sacred business and into your mindset. If you're trading with someone else at their request, it's because they feel like they can't afford you. And if that's the case, then they're not a good fit with your ideal customer. Or if you're considering making a trade or bartering, then I want you to really be honest with yourself and examine if you're having any money mindset blocks or if you're having any self-worth issues. And I know this is a sensitive subject and it can bring up a lot, so we're going to dive a little bit deeper into this in Lesson 6 and Lesson 9. Now finally, I want to talk about free offerings. So when many businesses first start out, they may choose to offer free sessions or events to reach more people and build their client base. And this can have some mixed results, and I'm going to share some personal experience here with you as well. So free events or free sessions do get people in the door, but these clients are not necessarily your dream clients. So from time to time, one of them may become a dream client, but this is actually pretty rare for someone who finds you from a free session offer. So instead, I would consider focusing on a free opt-in or free lead magnet that you offer online in exchange for someone's email address, and try building a relationship through email before asking them to book a session. We're going to talk more about this in lessons 10 and 11, and I'm actually going to give you a step-by-step strategy for how to do this, and it's so much more effective and efficient for building a service-based business or a product-based business. I know this from personal experience. This is something I wish I would have known in the early days because I was stuck in the old school model of offer a lot of things for free to get people in the door, and it really had mixed results. It just didn't work out. I actually started getting more clients once I was charging for my services. So although free sessions sound like a good idea, they can actually work to devalue your services. So you might want to keep these freebies limited to something like demonstrations and only at special events.